All right, lots of progress to show you guys. I mean, it seems like a lot to me, but then I was just editing last week's video to post, I guess. It's confusing in my brain, but there's not a lot done, but then there is. So you'll see what I mean. We'll get to it. I don't want to drag this video out for forever. There's just been a lot going on. So you will see we now have two stickers, two little green good to go stickers. We had the insulation inspection. That went great. He loved it. Everything's perfect. He did want me to just go ahead and in some of these gaps we went up over the 2x4s just to shove a little loose insulation up in there just to tighten it down a little bit more, but basically good to go. We moved the shower tub into the bathroom. It's not installed. It's not ready to be installed. We just kind of needed it out of the way, and that did require removing two studs and then putting them back in. So that was a little bit of a rodeo. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, but it's there. Obviously all of this insulation is up now. We have the vent for the dryer is installed. We unwrapped my fridge almost completely. There's still some of the protective film on the front. It is a white fridge, not a blue fridge. And this isn't where it will go. It will actually go over here. But again, we're just trying to get stuff out of the way. You can see we put lines on the floor to measure, like, if the fridge starts there, this is where the fridge starts. And then if we want the oven to start there, that's how much space we'll have between for drawers. And the oven would stop here, and then we could do more pull-out drawers here. So we're gonna build the cabinets in place. I think Dan's dad is gonna help us with that. So trying to start figuring out how that's all gonna work. It's exciting. Down here, it is a hot mess. So I know I've been saying this whole time, we are going to put up a bunch of walls and then do the barn boards way later on. Dan is kind of changing his mind on that, which I agree. I'm totally go with the flow. I'm happy whichever way he wants to do it. He's thinking now it would be smarter, which I agree, to at least put up some of the barn boards now so that it's just less work to do when there's stuff in the house. Because once we move in and we're putting these up, it's going to be a lot of mess making around our furniture. So we're going to get as much done as we can now. This is not barn boards from the barn we tore down last year. We got these from a neighbor in trade for some of our beef. So that worked out because we weren't going to have enough anyways. We're thinking these will go on the ceiling down here. How much, oops, shut the light off, not on. How much we will end up with at the end really kind of depends, because some of the pieces have big cracks or holes and that'll have to get cut down, or some of the edges have like rot on them and those will have to get cut out. If you're a huge fan of the red, I'm sorry. We are not. I know it's cool, but red is honestly one of my least favorite colors, and we don't want it everywhere, especially very deep reds. So we have this restore tool that we're gonna run along. We've done this one a little bit. So this is more accurately what it will look like. A lot of these boards are actually, lighting is not showing them a little better here. They have quite a bit of red. So we are going to use the restore tool to knock some of that off, and it also smooths it a little bit. And then we will put on like a clear satin stain of some kind, just to seal it a bit better. These are all squished Asian beetles. So many beetles. But yeah, I moved all of these in here by myself. That was insanity. We have the heat going, the in-floor heating in the downstairs, and the upstairs is done. Look at that. My brother came out and helped us with that. I will insert a clip of that for proof.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
You want Michelle?
Mom will love it. There you go, Mom. Your bribery worked. Scotty came and helped. But so the house is actually being heated right now, which is really exciting. It's warm in here. There's stuff out there we've been working on. I'll show you. I have a couple clips of that already. And the root cellar is a disaster right now because we put all the extra stuff in here to get it out of the way. We did get the rest of this insulation up that we had. Remember, we used some in the attic, so we're gonna have to buy a little bit more. And yeah, everything else is just shoved in here to be out of the way. We are still trying to get the temperature under control in here. It is still very warm. Hopefully we will get that figured out sooner rather than later. We're kind of thinking part of the problem is it got so warm in here to begin with because it wasn't insulated well and we left the door open, and now it's getting insulated well and it's cooler, but because the walls are so thick, it's just kind of trapped the heat in here. So a little bit of a pain in the butt to get the heat out, but like we've got the potatoes down here. I've got garlic that's going to come down here, my dahlias and gladiolas, all that stuff is going to come down here for the winter. So we do need to get the temperature probably down to at least 50, if not like 45, 40, sooner rather than later. We've had the fan going on the high-low vents to try and help, but it's fighting us a little bit right now, so that's a pain in the butt. I am going to technically jump back in time from where we are right now and show you what Dan and I were working on yesterday. We are working on more landscaping, laying down these blocks. We picked them all up today, and then landscape fabric, and then we need some washed stone. So the washed stone will go between the blocks and the fabric, and we'll slowly kind of build it up, and then we can backfill with the dirt pile. I don't know if you can see me in the window reflection or not. But, and then we'll do this side as well. We're not quite sure. I think we have 12 blocks. Some of them are half sizes, so we'll see if we end up needing more or not, but that is what we have for today. And we're also waiting on the gravel delivery, but we're starting getting the blocks piled up. All right, now that you're kind of caught up to that, I'll show you where we ended off. We do need to go pick up some more blocks, which honestly, one, knowing people is so helpful because we're able to borrow a super heavy duty trailer that can handle these, and we're getting a really good deal on them because Dan knows people, which comes in handy. I know they're not the prettiest thing, like this is not a beautiful look, but we're already talking about in the future, and I mean this might be 5 years, this might be 20 years, this might be the thing we always talk about doing and never get around to doing, putting some sort of like stone veneer finish on the fronts, just, you know, in here, so that it is nicer to look at in here. Whoops, stepped off the cement landing, but it's just not, it's not a priority. So maybe one day we'll do it, maybe we won't. We can dream, right? But here's drain tile. It's not ending there. It goes, because eventually we'll get gutters and we'll connect it to the gutter, and then it'll run out here somewhere. We did one on the other side as well. But here's so you can get an idea of what we're trying to do. Blocks, which we ran out of fabric there, so we're kind of, we'll see how it goes long term without doing this since the little ones don't have them. But block, washed gravel, if you can see that down in the darkness. I think you can see that. Okay, there you go. And then sand, but you have to build it up a little bit at a time. We tried doing it the other side with a skid steer at first, and that side has corners. Terrible idea. We made it a huge cluster and not fun. Corners are hard with the fabric, and a skid steer bucket load at a time, especially with corners, that was a mess. And it was super cold and windy yesterday working on that. It was just not a good time. Dan is on his way home from work right now, so I think we're gonna go pick up more blocks. He wants to do like a tiered down system. I'm not sure how exactly, but I know he wants to go at least 1, possibly 2 blocks higher. He just wants to prevent anything up there from washing out this way. And over here, I'm not exactly sure how this one is going to end. If this is going to be our end, we talked about putting one up higher. Sponsor us, Pabst. Wouldn't that be nice? We talked about going one higher, but the problem is this end block sticks out because it bumps up with the cement for the deck. Whoop, up in there. So we can't scooch that one back any farther, which means it sits out a little bit. So to go higher for this one, unless we can find a narrow one, which we did. We have another one from them that's narrow. If we found another narrow one, that might work. But it's hard to go up that height again unless we find a narrow one, because otherwise it would be overhanging, and we don't really want a big giant cement block overhanging. But ideally, we would like the dirt to be able to go up to there, because we don't want to put railing on the deck. And you know how inspections are about railings for drop-offs, so we might not be able to get away with no railing. We will see. It would be nice not to. But yeah, I am gonna go. I need to go gather up our garbage and get that taken out for the day. And Dan is on his way home, and then we'll be back to work working on this. And I think we have a big Menards run coming tomorrow, so just never ending with things to do.